world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
I just want to give a shout out to the moms in my Facebook group, the Cheer Mom Hive. That was the best name I could think of, because like a hive, like you work together for a common cause, common goal. Anyway, those moms are amazing. Everyone is so encouraging. As I record this, All-Star Worlds is happening in Orlando. And when it comes to these big national competitions and there's thousands and thousands of people, things get lost. And somebody posted in the Cheer Mom Hive about her daughter losing her wallet. And I think this was the sentence that grabbed me and everyone else. It's all my daughter has to survive the week without me there. I was unable to attend because of work. I am beside myself. I would be too, wouldn't you? Like, all the money that your daughter has is in her wallet and she has lost it and there's nothing you can do. You're helpless. I would be so stressed out. Enter Cheer Moms in the Facebook group. There are as I'm recording, this post was made 2 hours ago. There are already over a dozen comments from moms offering to help. Like, they don't even know each other, but they're like, I'm going to go help. I'm going to go look for the wallet. I'll be there early tomorrow. One of the moms says, I can help with food if she needs it. They're offering to like bring and buy food. It just makes you feel, in a world where Cheer Mom Facebook groups can be volatile and noisy, as I say, it just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. Oh, so bravo to you, moms in the Cheer Mom Hive. Anybody can join the Facebook group. So you can look it up, the Cheer Mom Hive on Facebook. You could just answer a couple of questions to join, because we don't like scammers and we don't like people who are joining only to promote. We like to keep it really positive in there and create community. And that's exactly what you guys are doing in that Facebook group, creating community, helping out each other's kids. I just absolutely love it. And I hope that girlie gets some food and finds her wallet. There's so many places that a wallet could be turned into. It's not just lost and found. Like, people think that like the t-shirt stand is like a central hub. It can be, but like there's so many places to check for a quote unquote lost and found, like the event security, the registration table, the coach's registration room, the ticketing table. I mean, it's stressful. It just makes my blood pressure rise just thinking about if I were in that situation with my daughter across the country. Anyway, if you're new here, I'm just a cheer mom, just trying to make it through like everyone else. When my kid was younger, it was getting her to practice on time and in the right practice wear was a huge stressor, and not lose my mind in the process while I had other family obligations and a full-time job and all kinds of things going on. And if that's you, we are already bonded, sister. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back week after week, episode after episode. Thank you so much. Whether you are on the road driving to practice, or you're traveling to a competition, or you're folding laundry, I appreciate you putting me in your ears and being such loyal, positive listeners. I just can't thank you enough. Whether you're new or not so new around here, if you've listened to this podcast or any other podcast, whether it's me or an actually famous podcaster, it doesn't matter the size of the podcast. We are all asking for reviews. And so if you wouldn't mind hopping into the app that you are currently listening to this on, leaving a comment, leaving a positive review, hitting the subscribe button, it all helps to keep this podcast going and to get the word out to other cheer moms who might be struggling to even understand what a bid is. Today I want to talk about little wins, little things that we should be celebrating in a big way that have nothing to do with placement or new skills or status. As a cheer athlete and as the parent of a cheer athlete, we all want our kids to have status. We all want our kids to achieve something great or be great. And I think that's built into us as Americans, as humans. We all want to be able to brag on our kids and for our kids to have all good things. And in cheer, especially, it's such a perfection driven sport that we can lose sight of the little things that make our kids good humans while we're chasing paid bids and while we're chasing new skills and the team that we always wanted for them or that they always wanted for themselves. And so I'm going to go through some ways that we can support and love our cheerleaders well by looking for, noticing, and celebrating the little things. Have you ever met someone with a tattoo and asked them why they chose that specific tattoo? They probably had a story about how it's significant to them. I have 3 tattoos, and they all have a very deep and meaningful significance to me. And every time someone comments on one, I'm like, thanks. And then I give them like a 5-minute explanation about why it's important to me. Even if tattoos aren't your thing, I think that we all need little encouragements and things that are specific to us that remind us of the things we love most and the words that motivate us to keep going. And that's why I started TCC Jewelry. The necklaces, bracelets, and rings are simple and engraved with little words that have special meaning, like hit 0, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 1, 3, 5, 7, and more. And check out the new collections like the Faith Collection and introducing the Dance Collection, baseball, softball, and volleyball collections. Get something special for yourself or that special athlete or coach in your life today by visiting tccjewelry.com and enter coupon code CheerMomPod for 15% off your order. That's tccjewelry.com and enter coupon code CheerMomPod for 15% off. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by Apollo Performance Socks. These aren't just any socks. They're a game changer for everyone in the cheer industry. Athletes, coaches, moms, I'm talking everyone. Listen to the rest of the episode to learn more and to find out how you can get 10% off your order of Apollo socks. Let's talk about those little things that they really happen when quote unquote no one is watching or no one is paying attention to, or you just don't notice because it happens. It's a progression that happens over time. But frankly, I think that the industry as a whole is not giving enough attention to these little things. I do appreciate the events that give out awards for creativity and for team spirit and for good sportsmanship. I really love that because it's noticing the character of the athletes and of the teams and honestly of the coaches who are creating that culture and making that happen for the kids as a team. And in a sport where it it really feels like life or death. It's really intense. Emotions are heightened. We can all hold our breath for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. In a world where eyelash glue can smell fear and Starbucks might run out of the delicious pink stuff that makes those beautiful pink drinks. It feels like the sky could be falling. And I think not just in cheer, but in elite sports in general, there seems to be this unspoken rule that unless your kid wins a jacket or a ring or gets a new skill or has the role of center flyer, that it's not worth getting wildly excited about. And I think that that's a shame and it's a ridiculous lie, because although we all have these defining life moments where maybe you did achieve something or you were really happy, life is I don't mean to sound cliche, but life is full of little moments. It's full of little things that we need to be grateful for every day, or we'll always expect the huge moments all the time and be sadly disappointed. We can't forget about the things that could shape or destroy a confident, resilient, emotionally stable human being that we're raising in our homes. You know, the kind of human that like has a meltdown because their Uber Eats order was not right, has a meltdown over the smallest things. A long time ago, I took up the practice of keeping a gratitude journal and writing down 3 to 5 things that I was grateful for every day. And when you do that every day, and I try to make it different every day because it really, the more that you document things that you're grateful for, the more you're going to look for things to be grateful for. And it has to come in like the smallest things. Like, of course, I'm grateful for my husband. Of course, I'm grateful for my kids. Of course, I'm grateful for health and the life that I have. But through this practice, I've learned, gosh, just the feeling of a full stomach with that beautiful pastry I was craving from my favorite coffee shop. The fact that the weather was absolutely perfect today and I got to take a walk. The fact that my dogs snuggled up next to me and I read a gloriously wonderful book, the second book in the, what's it called? The Empyrean series, the Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. Anyway, so good. The fact that I was able to read a book and finish a book and felt creative from that kind of rest. So how do we find those little things, not only to be grateful for, but those little wins to celebrate with and for our athletes? And I don't think that there is anyone in elite competitive cheerleading that isn't super driven and competitive and focused. I think that that's the culture of our sport, and our family is full of competitive, driven people. So that's not a terrible characteristic. But what do they say? You can miss the forest for the trees. I remember I was in a job and it was under extraordinary stressful circumstances. I had to basically plan a huge fundraising gala in a matter of less than 3 months. It was like, I want to say it was like 9 weeks. My boss at the time likened it to, you were basically planning an entire wedding in a matter of weeks. It was absolutely insane. And I would have these breakdowns, and my boss and my boss's boss were checking in with me, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. People were like so upset about like the craziest little details. And just weekly, I was like, I can't. There's too much to be done. I can't do this. I was working like 80-hour weeks. And my boss just said, you need to pause. Look at how far you've come. Look at what you've done in 3 weeks. Look at the donors that you've managed to get there. Look at the people that you were able to get meetings with. And I didn't see it at the time, but it was like, yeah, like I made progress. Didn't meet the ultimate goal of raising all of the money that we needed, but I also didn't lose money. So that's a win. That's a win. So how do we encourage our athletes to find that in cheer? How do we find that by our observations in cheer? Too often, and almost 100% of the time that I hear from cheer moms who are watching practice, they're stressed because they changed the whole pyramid and they've only had 2 practices and it hasn't been going well. Or so-and-so twisted her ankle and they've had to sub out something or water down a stunt. And it's all these things that create nervous energy. And it's not a bad thing for wanting the kids to succeed and for noticing those things. But how often are we looking for the little things in the team? And I think that this could be a good idea for coaches too. How many times are we watching practice and seeing our kid being friendly to another kid? How often, like, we could be looking for just kindness and sportsmanship in our kids' practices. Look for that time that your kid helped somebody up that had fallen down from not quite hitting a tumbling skill. Some of the most defining moments of my time as a cheer mom were not competition based. Most of them weren't competition based or what team she made. It was things like when she got her full, the whole team lined up and cheered for her and cheered her on. And it was just a beautiful moment to see people excited that she had gotten her full. It wasn't even the fact that she had gotten her full. Like I had seen her get it before, but it was the first time doing it in practice in front of the team. And it wasn't just that she completed the stunt well, it was all of these teammates just there for her, focused on her, and celebrating her success. Another small win could be seeing your athlete work through problem solving with a bully or with a new stunt group and seeing them work together to problem solve and think critically. Those are the type of wins that matter, that they're going to take with them for the rest of their lives. They're not going to get featured on the programs or the team's Instagram feed. They're maybe not Instagram worthy, but those are the moments in life that matter. And those are the things that we as parents can absolutely control in noticing those things and celebrating our kid for those things. We can't control what the judges say or how they perceive the routine or the technique or the scoring. We can't control that. We can't control whether the elite stunts hit on the competition mat at a crucial competition, but we can control what we say to our kids and how we celebrate them. And we can control noticing the positives. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by Apollo. I've never met a cheer mom who doesn't want to keep their athlete healthy and injury free. We all do. But did you know that common cheerleading injuries like plantar fasciitis and ankle sprains can often be prevented just with having the proper support? That's where Apollo Performance socks come in. I wear them at night. I wear them when I travel, even just lounging around the house. And I know that they are changing the game for cheer athletes at practice and on the competition mat too. Apollo socks can even be a wonderful substitution for bulky leg braces, ankle braces, and even KT tape. And many athletes don't even need to use their heel cups anymore either. The difference in comfort and recovery is incredible. Apollo socks are designed to provide targeted support, reduce inflammation, and help your cheer athletes stay on the mat doing what they love. Visit apolloperformance.com and use code CHEERMOM2024 for 10% off. That's APOLLA performance.com and enter CHEERMOM2024 for 10% off. I find that I've made this mistake many times, not just with my daughter. You know, she's almost 21 now. But even as the Cheer Mom blog and being at competitions and meeting moms and meeting their kids and taking pictures, I always love talking with the athletes. And I'm like, have you competed yet? And I started out by saying, like, did you hit? And that became kind of an awkward, like, sore subject if they didn't. And I started to realize, oh, maybe that's not the question that I should ask. So I would ask, did you have fun? And that's a better one. But here's an even better question to ask your athlete or celebrate them for, is saying, what part of the routine made you feel good? What part of the routine, what part of your performance made you feel strong? What are you proud of in that routine? We have to stop waiting for perfect moments to be proud and to express to our kids how proud we are. Because if you're only celebrating and cheering when he or she wins first place or has a big achievement or award, you're missing like 98% of their life as an athlete, as a competitive athlete. This could even translate to academics and other areas of their life. Maybe they didn't get an A on that test, but they put in the work and studied hard and did their best. We need to celebrate how they make progress. It's too often that I see kids falling under the pressure of their parents' expectations. And it's not wrong to have expectations of your kids. at all. We should have expectations of our kids. We should have, there's that family values discussion again. We should have things that, hey, like, this is who we are, and I expect you to treat people with respect. I expect you to treat my home with respect. I expect you to be a team player with the family. I'm not saying we shouldn't have expectations, but when they don't rise to, maybe think about the reality of our expectations. And maybe the kids have potential to get a scholarship to a high profile college or back to cheer. Maybe they have the potential to be a flyer or make a world's team or fill in the blank, but they're not meeting it. I don't think that disappointment is going to help them meet that expectation if the disappointment is coming from the parents or even the coaches. I think that helping them rise to the occasion and helping them meet their potential comes from, how can I help? And comes from us asking, how can I help? And it comes from the momentum of feeling confident. Once you start to feel good about something, you want to do it more. And once you start feeling confident, you carry that confidence into the next challenge, into the next thing. So we can help our kids build confidence. And it might be the fuel that propels them forward into the great things that you know they're capable of. Your kid notices what you notice. Your kid notices what you celebrate. If you light up only when they win and stay quiet when they grow, you're accidentally, unintentionally telling them that only the big stuff matters. It is totally okay to light up when they win. It is totally okay to celebrate the wins. But, and I'm going to challenge myself to do this, I challenge you to celebrate the growth. There was a season where the cheer team that Abby was on just kept missing the mark and missing the mark. And they had so much potential over the summer. But when it came competition day, they were just missing it, or they were like just a day one or a day two team. You guys know what I'm talking about. There are teams that's like, man, just day one is just not our day, or competing early in the morning or late at night just isn't our best time of day. They don't hit well when they're put in these circumstances. And I remember it was close to the end of the season. The parents were ready to, for lack of a better word, call the director and the coaches to the mat. They were ready to have a conversation like, why aren't the kids winning? Why aren't they hitting? You need to change something. And it was a very charged, it was all happening in the parent group chat. It was a very charged conversation. And I quietly dropped in a text there with a video attached. And it said something like, I understand that we are all disappointed, and that's okay. We know the potential that these athletes have, but I invite you to look at the routine from yesterday and compare it to this video of their first time performing their routine at the beginning of season showcase. And it was like two totally different teams. Like the team that we saw the day before at competition, maybe it wasn't the most perfect routine, but it was by far better than their showcase routine from 9 months earlier. And it's hard to notice that progression, but those are the things that we need to be documenting. It's why people keep journals, not just to process things, but it's so cool. Have you ever kept a journal or looked back at old conversations and seen like how worried you were about a problem that ended up working itself out, or the growth that you saw through a certain season of your life? We need to be documenting those things so that we can look back and go, wow, look at you. Like your jumps used to be like this and now they're like this. That's incredible. Or recognizing your kids' character and determination for not giving up when they had injury after injury and athlete after athlete that was leaving the team for one reason or another. Your athlete pushed through and finished what they started and stayed committed. Those are things to celebrate. Kid, you didn't give up when it got hard. That's way more impressive to me than your position in an elite stunt in the routine. When you do that, and I am not a child psychology expert, I do listen to a lot of self-help stuff. But when we do that, when we encourage our kids, we're building a human that doesn't need to perform for love. And take it from a millennial that was raised in a very strict religious background, I know how it feels to perform for love and acceptance, to work your way to get love. No human deserves that. And we could mistakenly, unintentionally teach our kids when we only celebrate the wins and the achievements that that's what they have to do to get our love and approval. We don't want our kids to feel like that, do we? Like nobody does, right? Right? So let's get practical about this. So like what are some practical things that we can do? I already mentioned at the end of a competition, hey, what part of the routine were you most proud of? Maybe after a practice once or twice a month, you say, what felt good about practice today? And don't let them get away with saying nothing or I don't know. No, what felt good? If it's leaving practice, okay, that's fine. Was it a water break? Was it that you only had to do 10 minutes of conditioning instead of half an hour? Next, you can keep a note in your phone with those tiny victories. Maybe if you are the mom who watches practice, almost treat it like that gratitude practice or that journaling practice where every practice that you watch, you are typing in the note in your phone, like, these are the good things that I noticed about practice. Wouldn't that be a cool, like, end of season gift from parents if somebody put together all of those things and presented them in a little book to the athletes? But keep a note, keep track of all of those tiny things because they really add up to a lot, especially over a long season like the cheer season. Give specific compliments like you had a bobble, but you didn't freak out. One of the most mind blowing things I see every cheer routine that I watch every year is that it doesn't matter if it's a youth team or a senior team. If there's a mistake in the routine and if an athlete falls, these kids just keep their composure and they catch up, they pick up in the next part of the routine that they can. Like they stay there in what's it called, like a load until they can rejoin with the other stunt group. I would fall apart. If I made a mistake, I would beat myself up so much. I would have cried and fallen apart. I would have run off the mat, I think. These kids keep their composure. It's incredible. There was a routine at a competition that I watched once. It was Abby's team, and long story short, one of the bases in the stunt group, the flyer was bobbling. The base took that so seriously, she single handedly saved the stunt and fell to her knees and still threw the flyer back up there, still hit the stunt. And I was so mad when I found out that it was like a double deduction for like a bobble and this base falling. I was like, wait a second. Like the girl saved the stunt like twice and she's getting punished for it. And the coach was like, do not say anything. She can never know that what she did caused a deduction because, and I was like, of course, because like she was a hero and I called her out for it. I was like, you saved the day. You're amazing. And one of the most powerful things that we can say to our kids, and I learned this a long time ago, is to say, and this goes for whether it's cheer or baseball or football, anything that your kids do, saying no matter what the outcome, no matter how disappointed they are or how disappointed you might feel, this statement always tracks. You say, I love watching you cheer. I love watching you play. I love watching you do what you love. It covers everything. I love watching you. I'm so proud of you. I love watching you. Fill in the blank. I love watching you tumble. I love watching you fly. I love watching you build the shoulders that I never had because you are basing an actual human. I love the trust that you and your stunt group have with each other. I love how your flyer trusts you. That was like the biggest compliment to me as a mom when moms would say, my girl trusts that your girl won't drop her. That's powerful in cheerleading. Am I at all saying that a team in elite competitive cheer will by parents, like will fall for parents going, good effort, good effort. It doesn't have to be like that, like good effort. They'll be like, oh, please, if they had a disappointing routine. And I am not at all saying that everyone should get a trophy. or the athletes shouldn't push themselves to be the best that they can be. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's important, especially with our own children, to show them that we are proud of them no matter what, that we love them unconditionally, and we can show that love by celebrating little wins in every area of their life, but especially in cheer and in sports. Just because they didn't place, just because they didn't get a medal, does not have to mean that it wasn't meaningful. Just because they had maybe what you call a disappointing season does not mean that that season wasn't meaningful and critical to their growth as people, or the friendships that they're forming, or even the lessons that they've learned. What do they say? You either win or you learn. You only lose when you stop trying. You only lose when you're not noticing those little wins, because the little wins, those are the big things. Celebrating those little wins amount to really big things that our kids will carry with them for the rest of their lives. So keep showing up for your kids, keep noticing, keep celebrating. I would love to hear about your little wins that have nothing to do with achievement or placement, but the little wins that you've noticed in your season. Leave a comment on YouTube, on Spotify. You can leave it in that review that you always say that you're going to do, but never do, that I'm depending on you for. No judgment. I'm a little passive aggressive. It is the end of the season and I'm tired. But no, definitely DM me, email me. I want to hear all about it. And until I see you at end of season events or the next cheer event that you're at, remember, I love you. And it's all just cheerleading.
What up, party people? This is Jason Larkins, host of the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I've teamed up with Kristen Wheeler of the Cheer Mom podcast and Dan Cotton of the Cheer Biz podcast.
That's right. Hey, everybody, Kristen here. We know that you love cheer, so why not dive into more perspectives? Tune into my podcast, the Cheer Mom podcast, for cheer issues spoken from the parent's perspective. Then head over to Dan's podcast, the Cheer Biz podcast, to learn from a gym owner on how to run a successful cheer business. And of course, don't miss the Let's Talk Cheer podcast featuring Jason Larkins, the one that we all know and love, where they talk about cheer from a coach's perspective.
Which means whether you're a coach, a cheer parent, or a gym owner, we've got you covered. Find all 3 podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay tuned for new episodes each week.